First step to the guide, step on this bitch's contact lens and go talk to the shopkeep. Once you come back from chapter 1, you can go ahead, get the contact lens, and get that bitch out of your way so you can access West Rogueport. After you get robbed, make sure you come back to this shack behind the alley and get your coins back. Buy and store all the sleepy sheep that you can now and sell them all in Petalburg for a quick profit. Ignore both of these item boxes beneath the east side of Rogueport until after you're done mixing a bunch of stuff post chapter 4. Hammer this first tree to the right for a free mushroom. Jump underneath this item block for another free mushroom. Don't do anything with this candy cane until post chapter 4 once you get done mixing a bunch of stuff. Until then, make a mental note, come back here, whack it 10 times, you'll get a horsetail. You'll only need 2 of them altogether. Get this item block for a free fire flower, make sure you store it along with everything else you've collected thus far. Once you've withdrawn and sold all your sleepy sheep that you bought earlier in Rogueport, make sure you sell them all here in Petalburg, and then buy and store 6 courage shells. 5 of them you're going to need for a Trouble Center request, that'll get you an Ultra Shroom. The other one you're going to use for a recipe journal entry. Just in case, it wouldn't hurt to grab a couple of these for Schwank Fortress, and on the way back for Hooktail Castle, you also at least want to have a couple of them when you head back to Rogueport. Hit this item block in Schwank Fortress for a free fire flower. While you're traversing through Petalburg and Petal Meadows, consider the delicious in front of Kroop's house and the horsetail. It means a free healing for your FP and HP. When you're done meeting the Mouse for the first time, make sure you loot this place for the mushroom and the honey syrup. Provided you've been grabbing everything up to this point and paying attention, you should also have the ink coupon, and your inventory should look like this. Make sure you go ahead and withdraw 5 courage shells. You're going to need those for the Trouble Center request in Rogueport right away. While you're at it, it wouldn't hurt to do the Trouble Center request for Kooppook. He's on the other side of the fence where you found the life stream inside Hooktail Castle. Pick up Zest's contact lens. Once you've withdrawn and handed over 5 courage shells to the shopkeep in Rogueport, he'll give you a free Ultra Shroom. During your journey in Thousand Year Door, you're going to come across Charlieton in the center of Rogueport. Keep an eye out for him to see if he has a Jam and Jelly and an Ultra Shroom, because you can get them both, 1 each at a discount of 120 coins. Hand the bitch her contact lens and tell her to fuck off. While you're at it, go ahead and pick up yourself a lottery ticket. You're going to need at least several mushrooms for the recipe journal. It's very often you will not win this, but just take the consolation prize. You're going to need these. Now that you have access to underneath the west side of Rogueport, go ahead and grab the slow shroom, leave the other box alone for right now. It's time to put the bitch to work. Hand her each of these items one at a time. Honey syrup by itself will get you a fresh juice. You can go ahead and sell that. Turtle leaf by itself will get you a Koopa tea. Go ahead and hand one of them over to Zesty so she can get you a mistake. You'll want to store that for chapter 4. Take the other 2 Koopa tea with you into chapter 2 because there's a free FP plus badge in front of the Great Tree. You'll want to equip that right away. Shroom Fry you get from just handing over a shroom by itself. Shroom Roast you get from handing over a slow shroom by itself. You can go ahead and sell that. Shroom Steak you can get from handing over an Ultra Shroom by itself. You want to go ahead and store that. Spicy Soup you can get by handing over a Fire Flower by itself. You want to store that as well. So the only things you're selling here are the fresh juice and the Shroom Roast. Store or use everything else. If you have a sick and twisted sense of humor like I do, you want to go ahead and store this mistake that you made with Zesty. For chapter 4, you'll hand it over to Eve and her starving children. You'll need that for a shooting star. And you will want to hold on to that for one of the recipe entries. Not long into Bogley Woods, block on over here for a free honey syrup. Using the slit outside of Flurry's house to go behind the shrubbery, come to the right here for a free Voltrum. You will need that. After encountering Miss Mouse for the second time, come over here and get a free Ultra Shroom out of this chest. Use Flurry here to reveal the hidden shop inside the Great Bogley Tree. Go ahead and pick up 2 Ice Storms here. If you've been paying attention to your surroundings and picking up absolutely everything, your inventory should look like this. Go ahead and store everything with the exception of the Thunder Rage and the Power Punch. You can go ahead and sell those. When you get down here with the peonies, go ahead and shake this bush on the left for a free mushroom. Side note, you can get a free few coins by finding the Dizzy Dial behind the stairs where you picked up one of the badges after sinking the water. While progressing throughout the game, I recommend doing any and all Trouble Center requests from Rogueport. Now, doing the one for the Puny Elder where you're giving her an emergency life stream that you picked up from Chapter 1, go ahead and take a quick detour to play with Petuni to get a Mystic Egg. The same question you'll want to ask her is Mario likes which person the most. You're going to need at least a few of these for the recipe journal. Come back up from where you got the red key in Chapter 2, talk to Jabal who's behind this bush, you'll get a free shroom out of it. Go ahead and hand over your Mystic Egg to Zesty. Don't bother getting more unless you're done with Chapter 4 and have unlocked fast travel back to the Great Boggly Tree. That fried egg that you just had Zesty make, go ahead and sell it. You get Chapter 3 started, you're going to have to buy a dried shroom and a Dizzy Dial in that order. Go ahead and store the dried shroom for right now. You can feel free to do whatever you want to with the Dizzy Dial in the meanwhile. Just in case you've never played this game before a bunch like I have, the password for visiting Don Pianta is yellow. Make sure you answer her with that. It's been over a day for me, so I went ahead and paid a visit to the Lucky Lottery, got myself another free shroom. Not counting the lucky mushroom that I found, lucky honey syrup, lucky flower, and lucky spike pouch, along with the second day from the Lucky Lottery, your inventory should look exactly like this in storage. That's 21 slots. During my trips above and below Rogueport, Charlieton has an Ultra Shroom and a Gem and Jelly. Unfortunately, I can only get one of those right now, but make sure you're checking in again with him frequently. While you're in Glitzville, make sure you go ahead and buy 2 hot dogs from Mr. Hoggle, especially if you were on the original. If you're on the original or the remake, make sure you don't forget to get the end coupon behind the juice shop in Glitzville and behind the points board in Twilight Town shop, because it's very easy to miss those 2 end coupons. In the middle of Chapter 3, once you get the Super Hammer, you can unlock fast travel if you're on the original version of the game to Worlds 1 and 2. Go to any Rogueport, make sure you do that. Get rid of the big block that's in the way, get rid of the other big block that's in the way to the 1,000-year door. Now, on my way up to go underneath the west side of Rogueport, just taking care of some shine sprites and star pieces before I go back up to Glitzville, I ran into Charlieton here, and he's got the Ultra Shroom I didn't get earlier, which then I got the Gem and Jelly, so make sure that you buy and store both of those. Feel free to also grab the dried shroom from Charlieton. It doesn't hurt anything, and it's only 2 coins. When you get back from Chapter 3, take on the Trouble Center request from Bob Bulber and Petalburg. Before heading to Petalburg, play a couple of mini-games at the Pianta Parlor. Make sure you have at least 6 to 34 Piantas, more than 10, before you do anything with the winnings. You're going to want to farm a bunch of Piantas in the original version of the game, doing the playing game, and if you're on the remake, you're probably going to be wanting to do that with the tube game. But either way, we'll get you plenty of Piantas for cake mixes. You'll need at least several of those for the recipe log. You may also want to use a bunch of extra Piantas that you obtain throughout the game to get a refund while you're at it, and much later on down the road, a money badge. If the cake mix to Zesty for 1 moose by itself, make sure you take all 3 of those to Bob Bulber. Give him 2 hot dogs and the moose cake in that order. Right after you're done watching Bob Bulber gorge himself on hot dogs, hand over the stupid moose cake that you just made by Zesty. You're doing all that for a dried bouquet. You can mix it with anything edible, including a dried shroom that you may have picked up from Charlieton, which I will be doing later. Now, you're doing that to make a space food. You can't mix stuff at this point in the game. However, if you want a space food and not have to deal with that and the whole dried bouquet and the stupid quest with Bob Bulber, just use it in coupon or sleep at the end and far outpost for Chapter 7. You can pick up a space food that way. Note, however, that only works out for the remake. If you're in the original version, you will have to make a space food still. Just getting one other cake mix really quick from our Loudly's Trouble Center request. As mentioned earlier, as long as you are properly utilizing the curse minigames, you should never ever have to buy Pianta Parlor tokens or use their slot machines. So make sure you're keeping up on the minigames. Make sure you're always at least above 10 Pianta Parlor tokens minimum. Taking into account that not everyone is going to have the same luck, anything that I've gotten that was from a battle or within a battle, I went ahead and sold them as extras. So your inventory should look exactly like this. and I've got nothing on me. After taking care of all the Trouble Center requests after Chapter 3, you might want to go ahead and pick up the Mistake before you head into the Twilight Town for Chapter 4. You're going to need that for even or starving kids. Just want to make a very quick note of something. Look how many coins I currently have. I've already invested 300 coins in Lumpy at this point, and I've already spent 240 coins altogether on a Jam and Jelly and an Ultra Shroom from Charlieton. You've come to the right place if you're looking to 100% the game and make a huge profit in the process. Before even bothering with the annoyance that is Chapter 4, go ahead and enjoy yourself at the Pianta Parlor until you have at least 64 Pianta Parlor tokens. Like I mentioned earlier, in Glitzville, step behind the points board here in Twilight Town to pick up a free inn coupon. You're going to want to use that right away at the inn. Using the inn coupon at the inn in Twilight Town will get you a free Peachy Peach. Make sure you store that when you're able to. This is the only one that you'll need. Talk to Eve in Twilight Town to feed her and her starving children. When you're done telling Eve what you think of her kids by handing her over the Mistake for a shooting star, store that when you're able to, along with the Peachy Peach. Make sure you jump underneath the hidden block from the coin block off to the right here. Very easy to miss for a free Super Shroom. The main thing that you're after behind the shop in Twilight Town is the Jam and Jelly here. You can go ahead and store that along with the Bushi and the Life Shroom here. You should not need to use the Life Shroom at all. If you're playing it safe, when you run into the Crazy Daisies in Twilight Trail, all you're going to want to do is tattle them or run away. Same with the Amazing Daisies especially. If you run into one, tattle them, run away. Avoid them like the plague. At this point, you should have 6 free storage slots. If you've gotten the consolation prize from the Lucky Lottery only one time, have obtained the Jam and Jelly and the Ultra Shroom from Charlieton, as well as his Dried Shroom, which is just enough, so go ahead and store everything. When you first enter the steeple, make sure you use your new Tube Curse ability to roll out of this gap here. Make sure you pick up this book because you're going to need it for a Trouble Center request for Zesty. This is absolutely required for the recipe journal and for 100% completion. When you open up the chest underneath the steeple, make sure your answer is 200. The Boo will then hilariously call you a math nerd. That will get you a free Ultra Shroom that you can put towards completing the recipe journal. Go behind this slit that's in the creepy steeple. Hammer this tree. And that'll get you a golden leaf. You'll want to get 4 of these altogether. 3 are for the recipe journal, 1 is for a Trouble Center request after Chapter 6. Now, don't be too distraught if your pockets get really full by the time you're ready to fight the Chapter 4 boss for the first time. That's prone to happen, especially if you're like me and you go into the well before you even deal with the steeple to get a couple of towels out of the way. If you end up getting like a Dizzy Dial or Mr. Softener, or Mini Mr. Mini, or like Earthquakes, go ahead and sell those. If you're lucky and you get a Slow Shroom or 2, you want to go ahead and store those. You'll need 2 more for the recipe journal. When you free up some more space, if you need to take multiple trips between Twilight Town and the steeple to get 4 golden leaves, depending on if you're in the original or remake using fast travel, you're going to want to go ahead and do so. When you get the letter P, you're also going to get a Mr. Softener. You can go ahead and sell that. If you were not lucky like me to get a Slow Shroom, don't worry about that. You can get those for a very, very cheap price underneath Rogueport. One last quick inventory check before finishing off Chapter 4. Again, don't worry, if you didn't get a Slow Shroom, you can easily get those at the shop underneath Rogueport. Otherwise, feel free to ignore that. You should have 4 golden leaves at this point, an Ultra Shroom, and your storage should look exactly like this, or at least very close to. After you finish Chapter 4, if you're still in town, you may want to grab a Spike Pouch really quick before you head back into Rogueport. Head to the shop underneath Rogueport and make sure you have 2 Slow Shrooms on you. It's time to get the bitch her book so she can start mixing stuff for you. While you're here turning in that quest, go ahead and give Zesty a golden leaf by itself so you can knock out one of the recipe entries for Zesty. You can go ahead and sell that right away. If you're on the original version of the game, this will not count towards the recipe journal. You will still have to make your own honey shroom using a regular mushroom and a honey syrup. That being said, it's still extra change for you, so sell that along with the Zesty. Head to Glitzville and pick up 2 point swaps. Going back to the bitch in Rogueport, go ahead and use a point swap on a slow shroom and on the spike pouch. This will net you a rune powder and a poison shroom, which does count towards the recipe journal, so make sure you use the point swaps on a slow shroom and a spike pouch for those reasons. You're going to want to hold on to the rune powder for a heartful cake later on. Just hold on to it for right now. You don't really have any inventory space as is. Go to your storage, withdraw an ice storm, go ahead and mix it with one of the golden leaves. Withdraw also the dried shroom and the dried bouquet. You can go ahead and mix those together. Doing so will get you the space food and the snow bunny. Fun fact, if you're on the remake, you actually won't have to make either of these. There's a trouble center request after the main campaign you can do for Swab, and the reward he'll give you is a snow bunny. For the space food, you can just use an inn or just sleep at the inn in general in Far Outpost Chapter 7. Well, they'll get you a free space food. But the space food you can go ahead and sell. Snow bunny you're going to want to hold on to, so store that. Unless you'd rather knock out another recipe journal entry right now, which would be the couple's cake, you're going to want to mix the spicy snoop with the snow bunny for that. You will not have to make this either if you're playing the remake, because you're going to get it as a reward after doing a trouble center request after you're done with Chapter 5. But if you've already got a couple's cake, go ahead and mix it with the poison shroom at this point. That'll get you the trial stew. You can use it for Invincible Danger Mario when you get a whole lot of stats. If you're a high level later on, if you wish, you can sell it for a coin, or you can just store it. Do whatever you want with it. While you're at it, go ahead and take the golden leaf and mix it with your other slow shroom. That's going to get you a shroom broth. Sell it right away. If you still have the trial stew and you want to hold on to it, store it along with the rune powder, the golden leaf, and the ultra shroom. Do some other trouble center request. You are definitely going to want to go to the Pit of 100 Trials. Go to the 450 at the very least for a strange sack, as that is going to make the rest of this process much faster. Plus the final 2 chapters throw items at you if you're going for everything. But not before getting the Spice Shield badge that you can get with Vivian after you're done with Chapter 4. That's on the east side of Rogueport. You're going to want to use her ability to get the Spike badge. That's going to help you in the pit. Hopefully by now you've recruited your optional party member and handed the bitch your book to mix up by this point. Now, you can go ahead and accept the request for Mayor Dower, however, don't start doing it yet. Instead, make sure that you've upgraded your optional partner, your party's fully upgraded up to this point, you got the Spike badge, and head down to the Pit of 100 Trials, go to 450. On your way down to the pit, go ahead and go underneath the left side of Rogueport, on the west side, and pick up the gradual syrup that's waiting for you in that item block that you've been ignoring this whole time. Once you got the strange sack from underneath the Pit of 100 Trials in floor 50, go ahead and head back up to Rogueport. Hopefully, like I suggested earlier, you played a bunch of mini games at the Pianta Parlor for at least 64 Pianta Parlor tokens. Go ahead and exchange those for 9 cake mixes at this point. On you, you should already have 9 cake mixes and a gradual syrup that you got from underneath Rogueport. So at this point, go ahead and withdraw Ultra Shroom, Rune Powder that you made earlier, a Peachy Peach, Jam and Jelly, Fire Flower, Volt Shroom, 2 regular mushrooms. You're going to want 2 honey syrups, so you're going to have to buy another. And that's 20 slots. Rapid fire. We're gonna knock out a bunch of these at once. So with your 9 cake mixes and your other ingredients on you, go ahead and mix the cake mix with fire flour, mix one with a honey syrup, mix one with a jam and jelly, mix one with a regular mushroom, mix one with a ruined powder, mix one with a peachy peach, mix one with an ultra mushroom, and mix one with a volt shroom. And then the extra mushroom and honey syrup, you can go ahead and combine those for your own honey shroom. Once more rapid fire. Mixed with the Voltrum will get you Electro Pop. Mixed with the Fire Flower will get you a Fire Pop. Mixed with the Ruin Powder will get you a Heartful Cake. Mixed with the Honey Syrup will get you a Honey Candy. The Shroom with the Honey Syrup will get you a Honey Shroom. Mixed with the Jam and Jelly will get you a Jelly Candy. Mixed with the Peachy Peach will get you a Peach Tart. Mixed with the other shroom that you have will get you a shroom cake. Mixed with the ultra shroom will get you a shroom crepe. And then finally, mixed with the gradual syrup will get you a zest cookie. Go ahead and sell everything except for the honey candy. You will want to store that for a Trouble Center request after you finish Chapter 7 for a little bomb named Gob. Before you carry out the Trouble Center request from Mayor Dower, make sure you go into your inventory, withdraw an Ultra Shroom, Super Shroom, Shroom Fry, Shooting Star, Jam and Jelly, and an Ice Storm. While you're still in Rogueport, go ahead and pick yourself up 2 more honey syrups. Doing so should have just netted you another free Super Shroom. Hold on to that, you're going to be using it soon-ish. Over at Zesty, proceed with mixing a honey syrup with a Ultra Shroom, mix another honey syrup with an Ice Storm, mix a Shooting Star with the Shroom Fry you had in storage. Hold on to the Super Shroom for the time being. Mixing the Shooting Star with the Shroom Fry will get you a Meteor Meal. Mixing Jam and Jelly with the Super Shroom will get you a Jelly Super. Mixing the honey with a Ultra Shroom will get you a Honey Ultra, and then mixing a nice Storm with another Honey Syrup will get you an Icicle Pop. Now, if you've been getting the shop points like I have, you can go ahead and purchase yourself another Honey Syrup and mix that with the Super Shroom here for a Honey Super. Once you finish making what you can while in town, go ahead and sell all this. You shouldn't need any of it, unless you want to keep it or use it down the line. From your inventory, go ahead and withdraw your Courage Shell that you bought much earlier in the game, your last Ice Storm, 2 mushrooms, the Shroom Steak you made earlier, and hopefully the Ultra Shroom that you picked up from Charlieton at a discount of 120 coins. Now that you're ready to do the Trouble Center request for Mail Dollar in Twilight Town, head to the shop, pick up 4 Maple Syrups and 1 Super Shroom. These last 2 item blocks that you've been ignoring all game, feel free to break them open. Claim what's yours. It'll be a mushroom and a fire flower. While you're taking care of the Trouble Center request from Mayor Dower, you may want to play with Petuni 4 times, or 3 if you're in the remake, because if you sleep at the inn in Palshley Heights after you beat Chapter 6, you can use an inn coupon there, or just straight up spend money to stay in the hotel there for an omelet meal. That's what you're going to use one of the Mystic Eggs for. Mario likes which person the most? Your pockets should be looking pretty full right now. While you're going to see Kroop from Mayor Dower and Twilight Town, once in Petalburg, store 2 of the Mystic Eggs you just got from playing with Petuni. After you're done storing a couple of Mystic Eggs, head over to Kroop's house and pick up 5 Turley Leaves, storing 4 of them. Technical difficulties, sorry. I would recommend that you grab 3 horsetails, storing 1 of them. With all that in mind, your inventory should look like this in storage. And in Mario's pockets, they should look like this. You should have everything you need to at this point to once again put the bitch to work. First things first, since it's easy to screw up, start by mixing a horsetail with a turley leaf. That's going to get you the healthy salad. Next, you'll want to take that and mix that with the shroom steak that you had been having on standby this whole time. And that'll get you a Zest Deluxe. Next up, you'll want to take a mushroom and mix that with a horsetail. That's going to get you a Zest Dinner. Next, you'll want to take that and mix that with the Courage Shell. And that's going to get you a Courage Meal. The rest of these for right now are going to be really straightforward. Mixing fire flower with a mystic egg is going to get you an egg bomb. Mixing maple syrup with a shroom is going to get you a maple shroom. A maple syrup with a super shroom will get you a maple super. A maple super with an ultra shroom will get you a maple ultra. A mushroom with a mystic egg will get you an omelet meal. And finally, a maple syrup with ice storm will get you a zest frappe. Sell everything on screen here except for the egg bomb. You'll want to store that for later. If you've been following along with everything up to this point, your recipe journal should look like this before heading into Chapter 5. Make a mental note of this tree if you're on the original version. If you're on the remake, go ahead and hammer this 5 times. You're going to need 5 of these things altogether. 2 for Trouble Center requests, 3 for the recipe journal. Not too deep into Keel Hall Key, you want to line yourself up with this block. Use your super hammer for free jam and jelly, very easy to miss. Duck behind this bush for a very easy to miss in coupon. Come into the background of Keel Hall Key on this small island, you're going to want 3 coconuts altogether, 1 for story progression and 2 for the recipe journal. If you like, just in case, you can take 4 coconuts with you all together so you have something to fall back on in case the water inside the grotto screws you over at all. When you get back to the shop in Keel Hall Key, go ahead and sell the Mini Mr. Meanie, the Thunder Rage, the Courage Shell, and the Spike Pouch that you found. Store 2 coconuts, the end coupon, and the jam and jelly. Something you can do to save yourself a couple of spare coins is to get a honey syrup while you're in Keel Hall Key. It only costs you 3 coins. That meteor meal that you made earlier, don't even worry about it if you're playing this on the remake, because you're going to get that as a reward for doing Eve's Trouble here. Either way, if you're on the original or the remake, go ahead and sell that. Not long after you make it back into Rogueport, you may want to get a few more tape mixes. You should only need 3 more. You'll be able to use 2 for right now. Store that last one. Side note, eventually when you do give Zesty the cookbook for that Trouble Center request, anytime you give her like a regular dried shroom, you'll get a shroom fry out of it. So that extra dried shroom that you have in your inventory, go ahead and withdraw it. Get yourself a honey syrup if you haven't already done so. Those 3 cake mixes that you got from the Beyond the Parlor, make sure you store 1 of them. Along with the rest of your inventory, withdraw your fire flower, jam and jelly, mushroom, turlily leaf, and mystic egg that you have on standby. You will need all of those coming up soon. Another quick side note, another little penny pinching trick you can do is if you want to get the shooting star from Charlieton, like if you want to buy him out, get that and mix it with the shroom fire you just made from the extra dried shroom you had in storage. It'll get you a meteor meal, you can sell that for a few extra coins. If you're like me and decided to make that extra meteor meal, hopefully you've already sold it. I've completed Eve's Trouble Center request, got yourself another meteor meal. Sell it, you won't need it. You should have plenty of cash around this time to buy some more badges from Charlieton and the House of Badges. Make sure you're checking in there frequently. Now that you're back in Keel Hall Key, hammer this tree 5 times. Good news is you only need to store 2 of them, and you're going to be able to use the other 3 right away. In here where you hit the switch earlier to make the platform race so you can grab the key to proceed with the rest of Pirate's Grotto. Hopefully you also roll the thing up in the upper left to get yourself a free Shine Sprite and another star piece. Both very easy to miss. Anyway, this is where you're getting that free couples cake if you don't feel like making it. Sell that. Note really quickly, one last time, that if you were on the remake, you will not have to make this. If you're on the original version of the game, you will still have to make this, so keep that in mind. Earlier, you had Zesty make you an egg bomb with a fire flower and a mystic egg. You're doing the same thing with one of the coconuts from Keel Hall Key to get a coconut bomb. So, take one of your coconuts with the fire flower to get that. Once you're done combining the egg bomb and the coconut bomb to get yourself a Zest Dynamite, hand Zesty your mushroom with your jam and jelly, a cake mix with a keel mango with a turtle leaf, a cake mix with coconut, a honey syrup with a keel mango, and now that you have the Mango Delight, go ahead and mix that with the mystic egg. That's gonna get you the love pudding. You won't need any of this. Feel free to sell all of it. By this point, you're practically done with the entire list. Now you can feel free to hop into Chapter 6 whenever you're ready. Here's a funny little side note too. You can actually have Zesty make you boo sheaths, so if you see Charlington has their pelt cape on them and you want to pick up yourself an extra point swap in Glitzville, go right ahead. That's another boo sheath for you. That last golden leaf, last mystic egg, and one of the 2 Keel Mango that you have in storage, you're saving those for this fish gentleman here named Chef Shimi. He'll be a trouble starter request after Chapter 6. That last Keel Mango you're holding on to for post-game. By now, I'm sure you're already familiar with the Babon family that you first met in Glitzville. You're going to want to select the Keel Mango as an option for both to make up with his mother for a trouble starter request in post-game. Check behind the wheel here of the spaghetti carriage. That is going to get you your 6th in coupon of the game. I'm going to show you how to make all the spaghetti meals in this game with just 1 packet of pasta. It's going to save you 150 coins. That trouble center request I was referring to earlier with Chef Shimi, here's your wake-up call. The main one we're going to be looking at is the one with the businessman. He'll be in Glitzville. Make sure you accept his trouble center request and head to Glitzville right away. The password that you're going to need to the businessman's briefcase is 2625. He's where you're going to get hot sauce from. You'll want to get 3 altogether if you're on the original, or 4 if you're on the remake. The remake adds a new recipe called the Hottest Dog. So you'll want to get 3 more hot sauce from him if you're on the remake. Get a hot dog from Mr. Hoggle. Go ahead and combine the hot dog with the hot sauce. There you go, Hottest Dog. Now that you're back in Rogue Fort again, you can start mixing some stuff. First things first, make sure you give the Zesty the fresh pasta by itself. After that, you can take 2 hot sauces, combine them both with 2 turtley leaves. Keep the other hot sauce and the other turtley leaf on standby. Now that you've made yourself a spaghetti into inky sauce, next you want to take the spaghetti and mix that with the turtley leaf. That's going to get you a coup pasta. Next, take that coup pasta, mix it with the hot sauce. That's going to get you the spicy pasta. Finally, take the spicy pasta and mix that with one of the inky sauce you have on standby. Finally, that'll get you a ning pasta. Congratulations, you just saved 150 coins. Lastly, take the cake mix that you had waiting in storage this whole time and mix that with the inky sauce. Fun fact, if you're playing the remake, you won't have to make this. You're going to get this as a reward for one of the Trouble Center requests. Of course, I'm referring to the Choco Cake. Sell that along with the ink pasta, you're not going to need either. Besides a couple of Trouble Center requests, you're just about done with the recipe journal entirely at this point. In case anyone is wondering, this is the NPC where you're going to get the Choco Cake from in Potchley Heights. She wants to meet Luigi. You'll be able to access her Trouble Center request after you beat Chapter 7. These last 2 Trouble Center requests that become accessible after beating Chapter 6 are relatively both important. In the remake's case, you'll want to do Frankie so you can do the tube minigame at the Pianta Parlor for easy Pianta Parlor token grinding. As far as Toodles goes, she's the only way you're going to be able to get the Money badge at the Pianta Parlor, so make sure you do both of these. If you're on the original localized version of the game, the ring's going to be here. If you're on the remake or the original Japanese version, the ring is going to be up here. Your 7th and last in coupon of the game should be right here behind the stairs in Far Outpost. At this point, go ahead and withdraw your 5 other in coupons you have in storage. Feel free to use all of them while you're here in Far Outpost right away. Hopefully you found them all. This is what I was referring to earlier in the guide. Once you use all your in coupons, you can get 1 space food at a time, sell them each for 10 coins. That's a free 60 coins for you right there. Lastly, if you were smart at the beginning of the game and invested 300 coins in a lumpy, time to collect your reward. Fun fact, by the way, he went to go discover oil at the desert area of the first game. From there, you can go ahead and collect 999 coins. You can put them towards one of the last badges you might need at the Pianta Parlor, You can put them towards the last 2 recipe entries you might need. You can buy out the rest of the House of Badges. You can do whatever you want, really. You're rich at this point. For the last 2 journal entries, you can either wait to get free Ultra Shrooms and Jam and Jellies from the last 2 chapters, or if you have a lot of extra change, you can go ahead and get 2 Ultra Shrooms and a Jam and Jelly right now. Withdrawing the Horsetail from your inventory and meeting up with Zesty one last time, you're going to mix one of the Ultra Shrooms you got with the Horsetail and the other one with the Jam and Jelly. Doing so will get you the very last 2 recipes in the game that you need, being the Jelly Ultra and the Zest Special. Do whatever you like with those. I'm going to go ahead and sell them, and all before I even went to the moon or finished Toodle's Trouble Center requests. That should be all recipes in the game, completed and unlocked. Hope this guide helped out at least a couple of you. I know that this is a very big hurdle for 100%ing 1,000 Year Door. And I'm also aware that in the remakes case, you can combine with Thunder Rage with like a Thunderbolt, and that'll get you a Trial Stew. And I'm also aware that the remake has a few more hidden blocks than the original game, localized and non-localized. So if you find any ingredients that you might want to put towards any of the recipes, you know, through them, you can go ahead and apply those if you like. But anyway, that's going to do it for me for the guide, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.